Hello and welcome to episode 46 of my Working with Todoist series. In this episode, I'm taking you into part 3 of my GTD plus Todoist, using Todoist as a pure GTD tool. So, quick review of our previous episodes. If you remember, there's 5 steps to GTD. There's capture, clarify, organize, reflect, and engage. And each of these has a particular reason. So number 1 obviously is capture everything. Number 2, which is what we did in the last episode, is what is it. Number 3, which is what we're going to do today, is where does it go. Number 4, review everything. And number 5, do it. So where does it go and what does this mean? Basically what this actually means is put action items on the right lists. For example, create lists for the appropriate categories, calls to make, errands to run, emails to send, etc. Now, the most important thing to remember here is pure GTD doesn't work necessarily with dates unless those dates are absolutely must be done that particular day. GTD in its purest form works on lists of what is called context, or in Todoist we would call it labels. And labels or context is essentially being able using the tools that you have to hand, or the place that you're at, or the person you're with. So for example, for me to do my email, I need either my iPhone, my iPad, or a computer. But for me to buy dog food, I need to be at the supermarket. For me to arrange a meeting with my Project A people, I need to be with, or at least I need to communicate with, the people involved in Project A. And that's what the list would be, or the labels would be. So it's the place, the tools, or the people that you are going to be with. They are the categories, or they are the lists, or in Todoist, they would be your labels. Anyway, to make this a little bit clearer, let's go into Todoist and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so here we have the project I set up from the previous episode 45, Project A meeting. So I've now decided that this is going to be a project because there's going to be a requirement for more than one task. So in order for me to organize this a little bit better, I'm going to look at the actual task. Now, normally I would do this in my weekly review. Now, if you remember the task about booking a table for dinner on Saturday night, that's going to come before my next weekly review. So I put a date in that one because it has to be done on a specific day. But here, I'm not sure yet when this needs to be done, but it's certainly going to be an email. So I have a label already for email, so I'm going to put that in. I know that's for sure. But at this stage, I don't know when this meeting is going to be, and probably I need to talk to some people. So as now I am organizing, I realize that I'm going to have to talk to a number of participants first. So what I would do is, let's say, talk to Sarah and Doug about the best time for meeting. And I'm going to add that task. Now, that's going to come before I email the participants, but let's say Sarah and Doug are the key people to be at that meeting. Now, I don't have a label for Sarah and Doug. I don't have a label for Project A meeting, but let's just say I have a label, so I can put in at Sarah and Doug. Oh, yeah, this is actually how you would do this. I just realized normally I would actually have a task for, so let's just go at Doug. So those labels I don't have, but I do have now. If you notice, I've actually put in those. So Sarah and Doug, if I click on Sarah, I get this Project A meeting. It comes up as, so basically what would happen is if I meet with Sarah for coffee on Monday morning, I can just have a quick look at my label for Sarah, and sure enough, I can say, yes, I need to talk to her about the meeting. So that's how I would set up that label. So let's go back into my projects meeting. So that's project A meeting. Talk to Sarah and Doug, and I know that's going to be an email. Now, running shoes is an interesting one. Look at latest ASICS running shoes. Now, what I would do personally is I would set up this so that I don't have to do the work when it comes, because remember, I'm usually doing this in my weekly review. So ASICS UK, and I would get the website address, and here we go. And I could even save myself some more time, because ASICS does more than just shoes. So I'm just going to have a look at running shoes, get to that site, and I would then copy the website address, and then in my Todoist I would add in that website address. This just means that when I come to doing this, all I have to do is click on the link in the notes, and it takes me straight to the website that I want to look at. So that's now I've added that, and I just need to add the label in there, which I know is at research. So and I don't need to put a date in that, because remember, this is pure GTD. I don't know when I'm going to have time to do that, but it's now on my research label. I could think about the next task, but at this stage I don't really need to. So that's that one done. New York Marathon, look for online registration documents. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go into my Safari. I'm going to go New York Marathon. I'm going to get the website address. So there we go. We've got the New York Marathon there, and I would put in I would save the link, and I would just put that into the notes on here. So this is just going to save me a lot of time, and you know what it's like. You've got your research task to do. This is what that is. I would say look online for documents. I'm going to call that at research, because that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. Again, I'm not going to set a time for this, because I usually do a bit of research, for me anyway, on a Saturday evening, sometimes on a Friday evening. iPad Pro case, again, it's the same thing. SF Bags is where I would go for that. So again, I know SF Bags very well, so I would go to their website, and because I'm looking specifically for iPad, I would go into their bag sleeves, where's iPad. So I would go into there and I would save that website, get the link, sorry, and I would put that again into my notes. Label, again, this one, another one actually at research. So again, that's done. So in pure GTD terms, these are not date specific. This is as and when I get round to them. However, if you remember, I have a task which was to remember to book table for dinner on Saturday. So what I would do here is I would do the phone call, because it might take 2 minutes, but let's just say it's early morning, it's like 9 a.m. I know the restaurant's not open. So I would put in the number into the comments, into the notes section. The reason I would do that is, as you can see, I've already given this a label of iPhone. But the thing is, when I open this on my iPhone, I will then get, all I need to do is touch that number, and it will automatically call the number. So it would save me so much time to do it that way. But let's just go into this a little bit, because I suddenly realized that I haven't decided what restaurant we want to go to. So although in Clarifier I considered this to be just a simple single task, but really I now realize that I haven't decided what restaurant to go to. So I would turn that now into a project. Dinner on Saturday. And again, this is pure GTD way. So I would go into my home, single actions, and I would drag this one out of there and I would put it into this one. But I also know is I need to discuss with my wife where she'd like to go. So that would be to talk to my wife. So this is sometimes how you would actually, and because I know I have to call on Wednesday, I'm going to schedule this for Tuesday. And I would, if you remember the keyboard shortcut, which is just S, this is going to come up. Now, this is why one of the reasons when you actually go through and organize, you're just reorganizing your projects that you've set up. And so that's a really cool way of, or that's the best way when you're going through the organizing. So although clarify and organize can be done at the same time, it really does depend on how much time you have. The most important one is clarify because you need to know what's going on. Organizing is to be able to just assign them the right context or label, and the next step is to make sure that they're in the right project for you to do. Okay, before we finish this episode, there is one crucial thing that I need to add. In GTD, items or tasks that absolutely have to be done on a specific day should go on your calendar, and only those tasks. Now, my Todoist is set up slightly differently, so when I show you this, it's going to look very messy. But if you were using GTD in its purest form, on each specific day, you wouldn't actually have that many tasks that you have to complete. Probably maybe 2 or 3, possibly 4, but really you shouldn't have more than 5 tasks that would need to be completed on a specific day. So how do you get your tasks from Todoist into your calendar? Now this is something that's really, really easy. If you go into the top right hand corner here to the gear icon and click on that, you go down 3 settings, down to Todoist settings. Go into Todoist settings, and down here at the bottom under general heading you have iCalendar feed. Now I suspect this will also work with your Google Docs. I'm using a Mac, so it's coming up with iCalendar feed. But if you copy that, so you copy that and then go into your calendar application. Now, I'll be honest, I don't use Google Calendar, but I'm sure, as I say, this works just as well with Google Calendar. And I can actually create a new calendar subscription, and all I have to do is paste that feed into my calendar. It'll do its stuff in the background. It'll give me a few options. I don't want alerts. I don't want the attachments. And if I click on OK, what's going to happen is it's going to add in all my tasks up here as it's done in the all day view. Now, I'm pretty sure that if I actually I know actually that if I put a specific time for each task, it would populate this area. But in general, it puts all your tasks that you've assigned for that day there. And in true GTD fashion, that is what you are required to do. Now, as I say, I use my Todoist a little bit differently, so I keep all my tasks in there. I don't actually subscribe to the calendar. But that's just something that you need to remember. If you want to follow GTD in its purest form, then when you assign a date, that date should automatically go into your calendar. And the way to do that, as I say, is just go into settings of your Todoist settings and copy the feed to the calendar, and then it will actually synchronize between the two. Okay, so hopefully that's given you some idea of how you should be organizing your tasks. Remember, I already dealt with the Omega watch, which was reference material. Again, sometimes you might leave it and then decide what to do with it later. That was pure reference material. So I immediately put it into my reference holder, which is Evernote. But You may have a physical piece of paper, a bill or something like that. Again, it's organising it. Maybe put it into your tickler file for when it's due for repayment. Okay, so again, as I always say, if you have any questions, please leave a message in the comments section below. And apart from that, have a fantastically productive week, and I will see you in episode 47.